And so when you look at page 23, you find the oath that everybody has to swear, I'm going to support the Constitution. You go to page 72, and you're going to see, not right now, I'm putting this in your mind so you won't be able to sleep tonight. So you go to page 72 and you'll see the creation of the Chief Justice and the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, and the Congress is setting out how much they're going to be paid. Now, no one gave it a thought. A creation of a Chief Justice and Associate Justices. Where do they come from? Not from the Constitution. You're not going to find them in the Constitution. That's why you have the Constitution, to find that there's no Chief Justice, there's no Associate Justice, there's no justice, except Article 4. There's justice in Article 4. When you flee from one state to go to another to flee from justice, the only way you get justice is to go back to a state. See? Because that's where you get justice, in a trial by a jury of people who know of you, know of the crime, know of the victims, but not the federal government. They don't know anything except how to lie and cheat, steal, rob, all the bad stuff, all the stuff that has been said about Congress from the beginning. It's true. So when you look at these pages, this information is going to come back to you, that there's an oath taken by Congress, and then when you get to page 76 and there's an oath that's taken by the justices and the judges of the district courts, you're going to see, well, these are completely different oaths, and they don't say that they're going to support the Constitution. The oath for the justice says that, no, I'm going to have an interruption here. The oath for the justice says that he's going to administer justice without regard to persons. Now everybody thinks, oh, without regard to persons, that means it's going to be fair. Well, no, without regard to persons means they're going to determine property rights. Because that's all the power that they have, is determination of property belonging to the United States. That's their only business. And so when you read on in their oath, you get down to the last part of it, and it says, "So help me God." That's a religious test. Now that's wrong, but it tells you that the justices and the judges of the district courts are not judges of the Constitution. That's all you need to know. See, to get started understanding the Constitution, all you really have to do is start understanding that the Constitution was there for Congress to act on. And as soon as Congress looked at it and says, you know what, there's a golden opportunity here to make Congress rich. And that's the road they took. Yeah. And there's no question about it. Now you've got this, you've got the law, you've got the means by which you can understand the Constitution, and all you need to do now is practice. Just practice teaching this to each other, because it just gets better. Now, what I want to do is bring the discussion in about how to relate the things that are happening to you in front of an IRS agent, just an employee.
Yes.
Remember, it doesn't matter if an employee takes an oath. An employee has no duty to do anything except to work. They ask you questions. They make sure your name's spelled right, your social security number's down there, and they ask you if you have a return. You see, when we learn law, we learn relationships. An employer has a relationship to an employee that's ancient in the law. It's called the master-servant relationship.
Right,
that means the employee is the servant of the master and does what they're told, not what they want to do.
Right.
So everybody in the IRS, including the commissioner, is an employee. They can only do what they're told. So they have no authority to make assessments or to impose an obligation on you or to do anything like that, because they're just workers.
It's true.
Well, but they have to hear it from you because you're the law.
Right.
Remember, the judges aren't the law. The judges here aren't even judicial. The whole idea of what we're talking about is what is this with this oath that they're taking? They're not taking an oath to support the Constitution. Why do you think that they tell you that the Constitution doesn't apply in the court? And why is it that the Constitution doesn't apply there? It really doesn't, because the Constitution that they're dealing with is the stripped down version. You know, this it's not number 1. It's not even number 2. It's number 3. And number 3 doesn't have any Bill of Rights. It doesn't have anything for people because all they're doing is trying to figure out how much of the government's property you have and when are you going to give it up. You see, take out money and look at it. It says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private.
That's right.
It's just changing one piece of debt for another piece of debt.
Right.
It's their game. It's a game that they have built over a period of 216 years, but it's never been a government, not a government of the people. It's been a government of the Congress for the federal territory that they were entrusted with to shape it into states and then put the people in charge. But they didn't want to let go. And what they have here is a system by which they do not have to let go. Why? Because you let them. Because you don't tell them, well, look, wait a minute, it doesn't make any sense. You have this oath that's not the same as the oath that the rest of the government's supposed to take. It doesn't comply with Article 6. So that means you're not part of the government, IRS, federal courts, Department of the Treasury, Department of Agriculture, the whole kit and caboodle. Not part of your government. And it started out that way. See, these are just the first pages.
Yeah.
When you look at the whole thing, you say, whoa! None of this is us.
Right. That's right.
All of this is for all that federal territory, which
Yes.
of course was immense.
Yeah.
The Louisiana Purchase was huge.
Yeah.
That was law for all that stuff, all those places, for anybody that happened to live there. If you're unfortunate enough to be an Indian, you know, you were being hunted down. Look, freedom to fascism. No, fascism. The fascism to more fascism, because they never set up a government that had any possibility of any justice for the property that they had. They took that right out of the equation. So it's always been fascism. Fascism means teaming up the government with corporations, with business, to do more business to the people. So it's always been that way. Fascism to more fascism. See, where did Hitler learn how to kill people? Well, from the Americans.
The United States, yeah.
You know. So, how do you present this so that it hits home? What was the most powerful part of what you learned tonight? And you prove that by just going into the Constitution and saying, look, here's what the Constitution provides. Judges, not justices. A Chief Justice, an Associate Justice, why is there a difference? Why do they get different pay?
Right.
To tell you, to beat you over the head and say, look, dummy, we're creating a different government, see? We're creating our government, not your government, so don't expect anything from us because we ain't going to give it to you. In fact, we're giving it to you right now, and you don't know it. Look at their oath. That oath has not changed much except that they now take an oath as employees. They take an employee oath on top of that one.
Right. Which makes them less than Article 3 because they're not supposed to have any diminished
Less?
They're
How
not
can
supposed to have anything diminished from their salary.
They're taking orders.
Right.
They're the what? Master, servant?
Master, servant. Yep.
I mean, it couldn't be any clearer than that. All you had to do is, and you can just order these things from their administrative office. They're all the same. The justice is the same.
We're supposed to be the masters, right?
You're supposed to be free, and you're supposed to be
but-
masters of your own destiny.
Yes.
Not to be told that you've got to pay taxes because you live here.
And who
What kind of bullshit is that?
Right.